Hey, how's it going, folks? Welcome to Kaisers Kastle. Today I got a special treat for you. Well, two of them. One's for me, the other one's for y'all. Today is the 30th, believe it or not, 30th anniversary of my happy ass getting out of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia after the first Gulf War. From August 7th to April Fool's Day. And when I went out on highway patrol that day down Tariq 129, you see the vehicle I drove right in the picture, and it was a Jeep Cherokee. And I'm heading down Tariq 129, and all of a sudden another MP comes up behind me, shining his lights. Thought it was some sort of practical joke. Of course, it was April Fool's Day. And he goes, "Hey, Shuff." I pulled over like, "What's this moron want?" It's late at night, because I always work nights with everybody my entire time there. And I'm like, "Yeah, what's up, man?" He's like, "No, you got to go back. You're flying out in an hour." I'm like, "Yeah, right, motherfucker." He goes, "No, you're flying out. You got to go." And First Sergeant, Master Sergeant, come on, you got to go. So I was like, "All right, cool." And I turned around, went back there, and First Sergeant's like, "Yep, yep." Master Sergeant's like, "Pack it up. You're out of here." 6 hours later, "Hey, nethead, hopefully this stream stays." Don't know what's going on, but I had to re-download OBS, so this should hold. Anywho, getting back to the story, the interesting part, I fly away, and I'm back. And that was the beginning of my time in the military, and the special treat for you all, you've probably heard him before, the link is in the description. Big Sarge, Sarge show on Redcon 1. He has a couple other shows I'll let him talk about. And this is just going to be two military veterans. He was a 19 kilo and had a couple other MOSs. That's a tanker. M1 Abrams tanker, probably also a dyno tanker, which is the old M60s. Probably when he first came in, he had them. And I was a 19 kilo for my last year in the Ohio Army National Guard. I was in Company A, 1st of the 147th Armored Battalion. So it's right up there in Lima, Ohio. Right next to the tank plant, pretty much. So, and that was, I think it still is, the only active M1 Abrams tank plant by General Dynamics operating in the U.S. now. I think Detroit got completely closed down. But,
oh, did they?
Yeah, I got out of it in... it was December of 99 and went to work for the federal government in 2000, brother. But we can talk about whatever you want, but this is just a couple old military guys getting together to talk. Just because, we are military veterans and we've, honor our brothers every day with their memory, because we try to live the life they are no longer living, some of them. And so I never push on anything uncomfortable, because neither of us need to go through PTSD bullshit. But other than that, how's it going today there, Big Sarge?
Oh, not bad, man. Not bad. It's only Monday and it's already a rough week. I'm ready for it to be Friday.
Ready for it to be over and crack a beer, right, brother?
Damn right, man.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
I'm trying to lose some weight too, so I cut back on my drinking, and not that I was drinking a lot, but I was I'd have one every once in a while, and then, I'd hit the bottle pretty heavy on the weekends, for obvious reasons. The weekends, unwind.
Oh yeah.
Just trying to get my ass back into shape a little bit. And so I, cutting a lot of shit out of my diet for now, but it's a never ending battle, man.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Somebody was telling me they moved armor school. See, this is funny, because I was in the Guard. I went to the classroom portion. I heard they moved armor school from Fort Knox, but I went through the classroom portion at what was the name of that place? It's an Air Force base in Columbus. It was at the time Rickenbacker Air Force Base.
And it was Rickenbacker. Yeah.
Yep. And then did one classroom portion at Knox, and that was like tank ID, if I remember right, going through the daggone museum and stuff. And then went out to Boise, Idaho, Gowan Field for the operations of it and everything. So that was a unique little setup the Guard had. Now, where'd you? I heard they moved armor school though. Where'd you go to school? And
yeah, it's at Fort Benning right now. When I went, it was Fort Knox.
Okay, cool, cool.
I did my basic and AIT at Fort Knox.
Oh, okay. So you started out armor or something
Yeah,
else?
yeah. I started out armor. And 19 Echo is what I started out in 68-3.
Oh, okay.
Dinosaur tanker.
Dino tanker. Yep. We were Jedi tankers later, right?
I was the second to the last class we went through. It was 88, 89. Second to the last class. And before it transitioned over to 19 kilo.
Oh, wow. Cool. Cool. I have some friends that were, they both, Kevin and Alex, who I don't know if this Alex commenting is him, but I had two brothers.
That's my Alex.
Oh, okay.
Mess with him. He's a gun bunny. You know, he's still active duty.
Oh, cool. Cool. Yeah.
Yeah, he keeps telling himself they're king of battle, and I'm like, no, you guys are queen of battle.
Yep, queen of battle always. King of battle's artillery. Well,
that's what he is. He's artillery, but I mess with him and say just queen, just to bust his balls.
Yeah, I get you. Okay, yeah, no. The Alex and Kevin. That's all I'll say. They're both officers. They're brothers of mine. Anyways, somebody just brought up Fort Bliss. Been there, done that. Can't say too much good about it except for it's nice now. What was I gonna say? Shoot, that threw me off. Fort Bliss comment did. Brought back fresh memories. That's where I had to go for CRC to go back over to Afghanistan this last time, and I'm recouping from this lung infection. But the point was that we were talking about armor. Oh, yeah. I learned, I think, as much about that tank as anybody could. But, man, every tank was different. What's your thoughts on that?
Oh, yeah, every tank is different. The master gunner will tell you that when you do your tank tables, when you do your pre-quals and then your qualifies, and then if you have any alibis afterwards, and then tank table 12.
Yep.
But it's every tank is different, man.
Yeah, we went through tank table 8 down at Knox, and that was an experience.
Right. Yeah, that's your regular gunnery.
Yep, just normal. Yep, quals. Tank what do you call it? Stabilization, where you lock the turret and you make sure everything's co-witnessing with the main gun sight, the gunner sight, and the daggone TC's override. It's been a long time since I've been around them, man. What is that, 99? So that's 20 years. And I was only with them for like 2.5 years, man. All the rest of the time I had several different MOSs. So, but I did love tanks. There's something about it. I remember one funny fact. You probably remember this too. In the serial numbers, you had the D and the L. D meant it was made in Detroit, and L meant it was made in Lima. And it seemed like Yep. It seemed like all the Detroit tanks were shit. I don't know why, but they just.
I got the unfortunate of being on a Detroit tank. I've never got a chance to be on a Lima tank, but I got a chance to be on a Detroit tank, and I've had some good Detroit tanks, but I've had some really crappy ones too.
Oh, I bet completely, brother. I mean,
especially when you're pulling pack.
Oh yeah, got to pull that pack. You know what shocked me about that was how small the engine is, because it's not an actual engine that runs it. The whole system the way it is, the engine runs it. Let me rephrase that. It's like a ship. It builds. You can explain the power plant probably better than I can, because it's been 20 years and I was only on it for a year. What, 2.5 years? You there?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah.
Yeah. Why don't you explain the engine, quote unquote, even though it's a what do you call that? A turbo. I always
turbine.
That's it. Like a ship's engine.
Yeah, or like a jet engine, basically. It sounds like a jet engine when you start it up.
Yep. And don't be behind it. It's hot as hell.
Unless it's winter time. All the crunchies stayed behind us in the wintertime.
Yep, at distance.
And we used to put and when we had canned goods or anything like that out in the field, we used to put the canned good on the grill of the engine in the back and cook it that way.
Oh yeah.
Who needed MRE heaters?
Oh, my son, this will blow you away. And I still have mine. By the way, I got him one. You remember the old ration kits that they gave you with the knife, spoon, fork, and the daggone collapsible clamshell thing? For your plate and your frying. I used to spam it.
Right.
I used to spam it up on the back of that tank. You know, leave that little handle sticking out off to the side back there, and then grab it with the 50 cal mitt and pull it off and cook my spam up that way. Yeah, that was good times. You gave me a flashback to good times.
Yeah, and in the wintertime when it was cold as hell because the damn if you had a heater that worked, it was pretty toasty inside the tank. You know, if you close the hatches and everything, it would stay pretty warm. But as soon as you turn that bad boy off, it was a fucking ice box.
Yep, a freezer. I remember Ohio, we had a real bad winter, and it got down into Kentucky too. And man, was it cold. I could only imagine being in Grafenville or Hohenfelds back in the day, because at least as an MP, we had the Jeeps that were heated, but they had a decent heater.
Yep,
but
I was in Black Horse back then. We transitioned from the unit transitioned from the Gulf straight to Bad Kissingen, Germany, and then our unit ended up, we were 2nd 11 Cav. We ended up in Wildflick in Germany up on a big-ass mountain.
Where were you at in Bad Kissingen? Were you near the airport?
No, I was on the Army base in BK.
Right. But they had that little Army airfield. Do you remember that? It's right in Kissingen.
No, I don't remember that. I didn't stay very long. We only stayed... My unit only stayed 2 weeks at BK, and then we transitioned because our main unit was stationed in Wildflecken.
Oh, okay. So that's where all your armor and everything. I got you. Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, we had all the Wildflecken had all the ranges and tank ranges and everything.
Right. That and Hohenfeld's down west.
And then of course Grafenville is where we did our main tank tables at.
Yep.
All right, Alex.
They used to. What's that? Oh, Alex had to get back to work.
See you later.
All right, no problem, Alex. Great seeing you, bro. Glad
he's retiring in a year and a half, man. That guy there is something else. He's been with me in Redcon 1 probably for almost 2 years now, a year and a half. And I remember back then, he's an E7 in the Army right now, and he's getting ready to retire. So he'll be enjoying life when he retires.
Oh, hell yeah. That's all good, brother. You know, I love it when people retire. I'm like, they can now double dip. And that's kind of the point, you know. Get that nice federal job and go cush. Surf a desk maybe. You never know what awaits. But, yeah, man, that's interesting. Yeah, I stayed in, I think, 15 years. And I just got the opportunity to go Fed, and that's what I did. So I bounced.
That's pretty much what I did.
Yeah. I enjoyed the hell out of it.
I got hurt. I couldn't stay in. I couldn't stay in any longer. I couldn't run. So I went to all my boards and everything, and just, once you get upper echelon, you're going to the boards and everything, and you're going as a profile. If you have a profile, broke dick, they look at you in a different way. So it was time for me to get up and go. I missed it. I really did. And I wish I would have been able to stick in for at least 7 more years, but it was my time to bust a move. And I'm glad because, you get better jobs after that.
Oh, yeah. The younger you are, the better marketability you have. I tell that to everybody. But getting that experience in the military, well, sort of like what the show that wouldn't work today, I was trying to make a point on. The whole thing with social signaling and white knighting, right? Where dudes, I understand white knighting if you're a dude, but I have something I call the white knight creepers. And they tend to be the same types of people, and you'll know what I'm talking about as I say it. the guys that, hey guy, how's it going, man? Those kind of worms you have in the military that try to get all nicey nice with you, and you just showed up. You know, that's always, you can always smell the foul de feces there. And, you know, the bird of shit bird. And white knights that, some girl, arbitrary girl, we're not talking mother, sister, grandmother, aunt. We're not talking relatives. We're talking some dude that just out of the blue, some girl's being a cunt, and you say so to her. Oh, why are you calling that guy? And we've created this because I remember back in the day, somebody acted a fool like that. We'd be like, you're an ass, dude. We'll never be around you again. Have fun finding friends. And that's just what we did. And I think we become, everybody talks about intolerance. I think we became tolerant to some of the things that should not be tolerated. And that's kind of the point of my channel, is trying to bring the old school thought back. There were some things about the old school that I disagreed with, but not the thought process. The thought process was always honest. Hey, if you were an asshole or you had bad ideas, you said them. Thank you for saying them. Now I know we're not going to hang. You see what I'm saying? It's just that simple. And I think we miss that in our American culture today. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, pretty much. I think, I don't know, the work ethic is just different nowadays than it was back when you and I were, you know, first getting in. And I think with how our generation grew up compared to the generation, you know, that we had bred, I guess if that's what the word you want to use, that we put out there. I think we kind of spoiled. I think we kind of spoiled our generation, or our kids' generation, because, you know, we grew up not having a lot of things, and we wanted to give our kids a lot of stuff, and that kind of backfired on our generation. And of course, right afterwards, the millennials came out, and they're even worse. And, you know, without getting too far into politics, we just have different work ethics these days than they did back then. I can barely get my daughter, who's 12 years old, to take out the trash and sweep and mop the floors in the house, you know?
Oh, yeah, I can dig that. I never really had a problem like that with my son. And honestly, you know, I know the kids get a lot of bad rap. But like there was an issue, and, you know, I am a father and a former Marine, and my son's a Marine. And, of course, as a investigator, just things happen. And I told my son how to protect himself. And anyway, somebody took it partial. And I had to say, yep, well, this is why. And I said, if he's fucking up, you punish him. But retribution's a different thing. And
I think it's a little different between the son and the daughter, though. I can get really strict on her, but then, you know, I cave in because I'm just a softie when it comes to my daughter.
Oh yeah, well I don't have any daughters, brother, so I wouldn't know anything about that. but yeah, like I said, the whole thing, the whole purpose is, if he fucked up, he fucked up. You know what I mean? And if he didn't, I'll stand behind him. But the truth will out. I'll hear both sides, and he knows that. He knows I'll listen, and he knows that I'll block it out if I know somebody's selling me a sad song, because I know how I raised him. And the leopard never changes its spot. And you can always tell the man by the fruit that comes off of his tree. And that's just something that's honest. And a lot of the young men I met during my time, you know, doing a lot of things, and I still, like I said, I'm still getting over my lung infection. A lot of the people I met, and we're talking even some borderline Gen Z now, you know, we still have a warrior breed. Here's something I've asked everybody I've ever had on who's a veteran. You'll be no exception. They say that there's no caste system in the United States. And we've had this discussion in every unit I've been on, and I've been the one that starts it. You know, the interesting thing is that
That's bad for you. You know that, right?
yeah, it'll kill me one day, just like what I do for a living. So it is what it is. But no, the interesting thing, the more interesting thing to me is that everybody that I've met in the military, they have an uncle, brother, cousin, grandfather, father, sometimes mother, sometimes sister. And they can look back in their American line and see that somebody else served. And there is a caste system, and I think it's an actual warrior ethos that gets instilled down through family lines. And your thoughts on that would be interesting.
Say that again. You faded off.
I said there is a caste system that I've noticed in the United States, and that's people who have military in their background, you know, somebody related to them somehow. Grandfather, father. Can you hear me okay, or are we breaking up?
Yeah. No, you're good now.
Yeah, so my point was...
Yeah, I wasn't understanding if you were making a question or making a point.
No, I was making a question, but saying it's the same thing that I've noticed with everybody, so I was trying to get your aspect of it. You may not have that. Anyways, it's sort of an indiscreet poll I've done. Has anybody in your family been military?
No, just me.
Really?
I am the one and only. Yep.
Wow.
I had an uncle. Now I take that back. I had an uncle that was a Marine, but he was only a 2-year. He only went in for 2 years.
You know what?
But he wasn't the reason why I joined the military.
No. They're never the reason, but I'm saying it's hard to explain. There's something that's ancestrally passed down through the genes. It's an ethos.
Yeah, no, I don't come from a big military family. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, you did have somebody in the military from your family, so I mean, there's something to that.
Yeah,
it's just
my uncle was, but I think we were the only two ever out of our whole family that's ever been in the military. I don't think I've ever had anybody in our lineage that was military. We were, I guess, I don't know. I don't know how you would say it, but I don't know why I joined the military. I guess when I got out of school, because I went right after school.
Same here.
And I guess I wasn't ready for college because I was sick of school, and I just decided to do something different and joined the military. I wanted to serve at the time the Gulf War was going on. I wanted to serve. I wanted to be a part of it, and I watched that damn tank video and it sold me.
Hey, you can't. What was it? Tim, the photojournalist, Tim. I think his last name was Fields. I could be corrected by that, so please don't hold me to the last name. But he did a whole album, and in it he says you can't take the sexiness out of a Huey or a tank. At that time, it was the M60s. You know, it was a Vietnam War. Tim Page.
Yeah,
that was his name, and it's true. You can't.
I don't remember.
Yeah, it was a good book back in the. You got to remember, man. I came in when I was 17. So my mother had to sign.
That's when I came in.
Yeah, my mother had to sign for me to go in, and
well, I graduated when I was 17. So
yep,
yep, that was the reason why I got a chance to go.
Yep. I had to actually wait a little bit at Fort McClellan. I went to basic and AIT at McClellan. It was OSIT, basic and MP school. And so I was a 95 Bravo. Now they call them 31 Bravos. So isn't that funny?
Wow. Yeah, they changed so much.
Yep. Good net heads.
I don't even know half the damn MOSs that exist nowadays.
Oh, well, they've changed. Like the reason why they changed the MPs, somebody, a friend of mine told me when I was over in Iraq in 05, or was that 06? They had just changed it like a year before. So I could be corrected on that too. But it was 05, 06, maybe 07. I don't know. Somewhere around there. Anyways, he was saying, yeah, man, they changed it because the officer ranks were always 31 for officers. so they made the 95s
Right.
the same, except they had to. So there was never anything lower than the officer rank, you know, going up the ladder. Just one of those interesting things, but yeah, man. I mean, the military has changed quite a bit. I don't think for the better. They call things hazing. That, like, when I got my badge, both in the Army and the Marine Corps, they used a pound in the Army. We used to wear cross pistols to hold up our brassard. That's your little MP armband, and they'd blast them. You know, take the dammits off and blast them into your arm. Everybody who was an MP got to hit you. And same thing when I made it through Marine Corps MP school at Lackland Air Force Base. You put your badge on your chest without the dammits on them, and they just blasted you right in the chest.
Yeah, and they pounded you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got your blood wings, basically.
Basically, yeah. Blood badge, what we used to call it.
Yeah, they don't do that shit, or blood badge. Yeah, don't do that shit no more.
It's true. They probably even changed. This was a funny one. In the Army, when I was in Darmstadt and Kitzingen too, back in the day. And I was on a nuke site. And the interesting part about that was they took you out to Lupo's, which was the MP bar. And you got hammered, and I picked up a nice girl, and, you know, I was stuck with her my whole time there, really. I screwed up. I went down to K-Town.
Nothing wrong with that.
You know, I went down to K-Town. I had some fun, too. You know what's up. But
who didn't?
Yeah. But
Kaiser slaughtered.
Yep. You know it. The wall, baby. The actual wall. No, I was in Berlin.
Yeah, they had one in Nuremberg too. I went to the one in Nuremberg.
Nuremberg had a nice one. That was what, a couple subway stations away from where the old speech was given, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. And of course the what they used to call it, the Marble Palace in Frankfurt.
Yep. And they had one thing.
Sachsenhausen.
Where was the SS barracks that they had PLDC running out of back then? I think it was Nuremberg.
I can't remember. It was too long ago.
I think it was Nuremberg.
I think it was Nuremberg. Yeah.
Yeah. They had the black line down the center. Yeah.
Yeah, for those of you guys who don't know, back in Germany, they used to have, when we were stationed in Germany, they took an SS barracks and turned it into E5 school.
Yep. When you were E5, well, E5P, E5 promotable. I was one of the last Spec 5s. But I ended up going to ADAC for my last year, but that's where I was headed, and I just dropped off my paperwork, and they said I had orders for a year of hardship duty on Naval Air Station ADAC, Alaska. Small Army contingent. We guarded a little thing now everybody knows of it as HARP, but it started out called Classic Wizard. I have a picture of it up on my page. It's no longer classed, so of course I could have that picture now. I couldn't have it back when I had it, but I kept it quiet until I was like, oh, they just declassed that. I'm going to put it up. Yeah, it's funny like that, right? But the interesting thing is, speaking of that, you just think about that one poor kid on the sub. Takes a picture, probably going to do nothing more than I did, and hold that picture for a memento for the rest of his life. And fuck, mine stayed in...
Yeah, the guy that got in trouble?
Yeah, mine stayed in my shoebox. But because it was on his phone, an electronic device, you see what they did to him. That was absolutely ridiculous, Big Sarge.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. And here we got Hillary Clinton and the rest of the gang, going home, having a slew of emails, and then Chelsea Clinton or Chelsea, not Clinton, but Manning, doing Chelsea, all that, getting a pardon, and then running for Congress. Luckily, it did make it into Congress, but I mean, there was a very good chance, that she would have made it in Congress, and yeah, it's just sickening, and it's just sad.
Well, I just call it a she-it because it sounds better.
Yeah,
she-it.
A shit.
Yeah, a shit. You just say,
I just busting your balls.
Say, yeah, it's all right. It's ball busting time. This is how veterans talk, folks. We like to keep it spicy for you. But no, some of the fun stuff, man. There's no looking back on and I can say this even with some of the hairy and wild shit I've done. Trust me, when you keep traveling, it's kind of what happens. The interesting part is you have more laughs. This is something a lot of people don't get. The thing about military life is not everybody wants to talk about the sharp edge of combat, and that maybe is one. If you're an ODA guy or a SIL type, something like that, that's might be 1% of what you're going to do. The rest of it's train up and other shit. But during that time, you're building bonds with bros. And these are dudes you're going to go to war with. And there's hilarity, absolute hilarity. You know, somebody's banging his girlfriend. You walk in on him. You know, just stuff like that. And just stupid stuff. And, you know, I could give legendary stories about that shit. But, you know, who cares? It's just funny stuff. But that's what made it worth it. That experience and getting to know how men operate together. There is a pecking order, you know, the alpha beta thing, all that crap. But in reality, I mean, anybody who's out there strapping on a gun, gonna go bang bang, it's balls up at that time. And I'm not the baddest man on the block. I've met the baddest men on the block, on my side and against me, for good or ill. It matters not. But the issue is, you know, just to be around that enhances you as a man in a lot of ways, and that's a positive. I mean, I think here's something that was interesting to me when I first got out of after the Gulf War and got out of the Marine Corps. I joined the American Legion and the VFW. And we had World War II and Korean veterans there. You didn't hear about PTSD except for with the Vietnam vets, right? And it was because that network was strong. You didn't have many Vietnam vets at that time in the 80s or early 90s. Let me rephrase that. I just lied to you. You didn't have very many VFWs that had Vietnam veterans. They had their own little Vietnam Veterans for American Legion Hall or whatever. And now they're everywhere, and that's good. Every veteran, including National Guardsmen and stuff, and reservists, they're veterans. So I don't delineate. There's this egotism to where if you didn't chew the same ground I did and fight on the same soil, you know, you're not a real veteran. You know, I saw that after the Gulf War, the 100-Hour War, people trying to disregard our service, and it just made me laugh. I was like, you guys had fucked up politicians, and we had fucked up politicians another way where we didn't. I'll never forget the day Bush made the statement. See how many, I'm pretty much a political atheist on some things. This is one of them. I saw him make two comments. Well, one was April Gillespie before the Gulf War, and that was in August 2nd or August 1st, where she told Saddam Hussein, yeah, the U.S. has no interest in Arab-to-Arab conflicts, basically green-lighting him going into Kuwait. And then in August 7th, 1st Marine Division was lock, stock, and barrel in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia to defend it. And I was there, you know, setting up port security for Ras Al Jabal. With all my other brothers from 1st FSSG, Marine Corps Military Police Company. We specialized in port security, probably the best at it on the planet, and even today. But that unit's been disbanded. But the people who were there know how it was and how we implemented it, and it was record-breaking time. I think we were the map for that. That's just my 2 cents on it. But to get back to the basis of that, the point being is that you're around good dudes, and if a play goes down, everybody's down for it, but it's balls, and it's something that I guess it's just hard to explain to people that have never there was a master gunnery sergeant I knew, and he was a great guy, and we were drinking in Pattaya Beach, Thailand before the war. And we were at Caroline's. It was a bar that was owned by a former Marine. And he hoisted his glass and poured part of it out on the concrete. And I'm like, what's that for there, Master Guns? And he's like, it's for the men that didn't make it home with me from Vietnam. He said, there's a sweet, he goes, you may find it someday, Shuff. There's a sweet but bitterness to combat that only those of you who have served will ever know. And he goes, like that, and he goes, you may find it in your time in the Corps. And I was like, that's good stuff. And unfortunately, I did find it. So, fortunate or, unfortunate, whatever. I think it's fortunate. And so, but my point was that they didn't talk. I think the World War II and Korean veterans did talk. And I think that's why we see such an uptick in PTSD. Your thoughts on that, just the PTSD thought process?
Well, I mean, I don't know what to say other than it's screwed up. The whole system is screwed up. From the VA all the way down to the military. When you try to get out, they don't support. There's no support services. They don't try to support you. And when you get out, all they want to do is throw drugs your way.
I agree.
To try to to try to subside your struggle, your traumas. And I mean, there's just I don't know what else to say other than there's just not the right kind of support for it. And it's sad because I keep hearing people, and I hear conservatives say this a lot, and it pisses me off when I hear this. They're like, okay, yay, we got money for this, or we got money for the wall, or we got money for this. I'm like, why don't you take that money for the wall and fix the veteran thing first and then build the wall? Yeah. And they're like, oh, okay, well, we'll build the wall first and then take care of the veterans. No, screw you, because you've been building stuff for years and doing things for years and putting veterans last every single time. I'm sick and tired of hearing this. Okay, we're going to do this, but then we're going to go ahead and take care of the veterans after we do this. And then the next thing is, we're going to take care of them after we do this. Well, let's do this first. And it's just sickening.
I agree with you on a large portion of that. My agreements are that I tried marijuana one time at 14. Drugs to me were always stupid, and I can't stand pills. When I got wounded in Iraq, they put me on something that it actually felt like my guts were getting ripped out. It was, so, but the thing about government money, it hasn't fixed our schools. I don't think it'll fix the wall. I think the key is veterans talking to other veterans. And, only with this computer age have I met so many veterans that we can actually talk and have real conversations, even offline, where nobody else is listening. Mm-hmm. And sometimes that's more cathartic to where you have somebody that knows where you're coming from. You know what I mean? And that's, I think, I think the drugs also fucked up our Vietnam veterans in some ways. But, of course, that was, LSD, all the other bullshit drugs that people were taking recreationally. I don't know if – I think – look, psychology and psychiatric help and stuff, to me it's a pseudoscience. And I know a lot of people differ with me on that. But all you're doing is talking to somebody that doesn't understand unless they are a veteran. And if that's the case, then I can buy into you talking to them, right? But a non-veteran will never understand. Yeah, non-veteran will never understand you having to make a life and death decision in a microsecond, and you're going to be judged for the rest of your life, not by others. Here's the thing. A man of honor, a man of integrity, you're going to be judged by yourself until you're in the ground.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I mean? And I think those are the hard conversations we're not having. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah. Yeah, no, there's definitely I don't want to say a disconnect, but more veterans have been coming together, thanks to technology. Technology's a crutch and technology's a bane all at the same time. There's unfortunately, there's no happy medium, between technology and the rest of the world. But I mean, as far as bringing folks together, technology did a great job. I was able to reconnect with a bunch of my buddies from Somalia. I was able to connect from a bunch of my buddies from Germany, all the way up through when I, finally ETS'd out of the military.
Oh, me too. Everybody that, the sad part is there's a guy, I'll mention his name. I mean, everybody in the old Marine Corps unit I was talking about, MP Company 1st FSG, knows this guy. He was legend. James Danchez, phenomenal man, died of some weird cancer. He has legendary kids. We were taking a picture of me, him, and a Brit. Of course, I got cut out of the picture, but it got made into an AP picture. It went viral on the AP. And we were offloading British armor. At that time, it was 7th Armor. Where me and my wife went and visited a brother, Royal Military Policeman, who me and him, he had pictures of me and different things we did. And I'm like, dude, that's classified. And he goes, you Yanks and you're classified. And, it was one of those funny things. And I was like, are you ever going to send me those pictures? He goes, when I die. It's those things that you've worked overseas and you've built trust and bonds with people who are foreign. And there is something about that too. Travel broadens the mind more than any book or college course. And I honestly believe that, having gone through, just like probably you, college and the system of, our schooling. And then you get out there and I'll never forget one of my modern Arabic instructors was telling all about Islam and shit like this, and typical kind of prof. And I looked at him, I said, well, where'd you ever go in the Near East? And he goes, well, hopefully I'll go see Palestine one day. I said, so you've never been anywhere, and yet you wanted to argue with me, and I've been to the kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, and Iraq. And you want to argue, this is before I got my first federal job, about the realities of Islam. I said, you're a real piece of work, man. And, he didn't, that did not affect my grade. I'm shocked. He was a real squeaky kind of libtard, but, that didn't, I was really shocked. He showed some honor there. I got a 4.0 in his class. So, I was fine with that.
Nice.
So, just interesting kind of thing.
True. Yeah, no, I had some really good times when I was in the Army. I had some really shitty times when I was in the Army, and then there was times where you're just like, I'm ready to get out tomorrow, and then you do something cool like have a training session. I was always the one volunteering for every time something came up, whether it was a road march, whether it was some type of training with the Germans, or if we were going to go to the field or something. I was always the one going, yeah, I want to get out there. I want to do this. I want to do that. And that's how I got my Schützenschneier badge. I did it with the Germans. So I did it the right way, not how they do it today, where they do it in America. I got the Schützenschneier badge when it was hard to get it. Not now, like it's easy to get it now. It's like they give them out like candy.
Yeah, I got my Schützenschnur when I was with the Feldjagers. I've got a armband. I think you've probably seen that on my page. I have.
Yes, I have.
Yeah, I have my Schützenschnur. I shot gold, and believe it or not, it was funny as hell. Well, that'll be an offline conversation one day. We'll talk about. But anyways,
well, I got silver. Because the Germans were screwing with us, and I speak German, or I spoke more German than I do now back then.
Right.
And So I'm listening to these guys, and we had to shoot the P-38s, and they were crappy guns.
Yes, they
so
are.
You would aim center and shoot low or left, or you would have to, you'd have to adjust. And so I'm listening to these guys talking. We're firing, and I'm like, I shoot I've always been an expert marksman in the military, and there's no weapon that I didn't qualify expert on. And I'm sitting there going, aiming center mass, shooting and shooting and shooting. I know I'm shooting, freaking center mass. What the hell? So I hear the Germans starting to laugh, and because they hated it because we could try to qualify to get their awards. Right. So I'm shooting, and I'm listening to them talk, and I'm like, So I tell my buddies, I'm like, hey, we could have got gold, but these guys, kind of screwed us in the ass. So aim a little bit high to the right, and you should be able to shoot center mass. And lo and behold, as soon as we start aiming high to the right, boom, 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 we shot center mass on almost all our targets. And man, the Germans were pissed off. And I went up to them and said, "Ich sprechen Sie Deutsch?" And they're like, Scheiße.
Yeah, das ist Scheiß. That's hilarious, man. Yeah, no, man. I mean, it's and that's another thing that's funny is the different areas of Germany, the colloquialisms are slightly different. So I'm hearing it as it's interesting. I have a couple bros. One of them retired out of the B&D. Just old school dudes, and we got together. I got to go back to Berlin, man. Have you been back since the wall? Well, you were there when the wall fell. Never mind. I was there when the wall was
I was there right after the wall fell. We actually closed down OP Tennessee.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, go into that because that'd be a cool story to hear, brother. I wasn't there for any of the closing. I was there when the wall was strong and up. I did work Checkpoint Charlie.
Yeah.
Though.
Yeah, that was cool. I got to see Checkpoint Charlie from both sides. Of course, the wall was down, and I got original chunk of the wall from the wall. Not that fake shit that you get from all the 5 and dime stores. And but anyhow, they were taking volunteers to go to tear down OP Tennessee, and nobody said that this was going to be like a historical moment. This is the last OP that they had on the Czechoslovakian border,
right?
That they're going to tear down from the wall. So we're like, all right, cool. So I volunteered for it, of course, because I wanted to see more of the countryside. Right. And I heard Czechoslovakian women were good looking. So, and
they weren't
I was
wrong.
A private back then. Right. I was single. I didn't care. Nothing wrong with that. So anyhow, we're getting up there, and it's pretty cool. They have a big ceremony, and then, we just start tearing it down. And, they were giving pieces of the barbed wire, from the fencing and all this other stuff out. And of course, I didn't. Back at that time, you were like, I didn't want none of this. Where's the beer, and where's where are we going to hang out afterwards?
Where's the titties and beer?
After
right.
well, yeah. Well, anyhow, we got to after we were done tearing it down, there was a field right by it, and we kind of walked along the road a little bit. We're walking up and down the road, and we walked down the road a hot minute, and BSing and just bullshitting. And we started walking through the fields, and we were like, "Oh yeah, man, this is kind of cool. We're out here. It's a beautiful day." And all I hear from my platoon sergeant was, "Stop! Don't take another effing step. Stop!"
Minefield.
Like, yeah.
And
we're like, "What?" Because there was no signs anywhere.
Right.
There was no signs anywhere at all.
Right.
And he's like, "You guys are in a minefield. Stop."
Yep.
And then so they had to talk about fucking pissing your pants.
Yep.
So we had to luckily, the ground was still soft, because it was springtime. Right. So, there was a lot of rain and still melting snow. So we were able to trace our steps, all the way back, but it was a scary experience. And we all thought the platoon sergeant was messing with us. And lo and behold, probably about an hour and a half later, EOD came, and next thing you know, boom, 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 boom. And I swear to God, not 2 inches from where I was standing, a mine went off. Yep. I was like, God dang, I got lucky. Nobody got hurt, but we all got lucky that day.
There was a buddy of mine. I'll just call him Bob for this conversation. We'll have this conversation later, I guess, probably. This is enjoyable to me. This is the kind of conversations I like to have with veterans, because I'm a vet, and it's always awesome to hear stories. Anyways, a brother of mine, he's a big World War I buff, and while he was stationed there, he was there a few years before me, and then we hooked up in the Marine Corps. It's kind of funny how shit happens like that. But he was telling me one day, man, it was a nice dewy day. He went to go visit the Somme, where the battlefield of the Somme was. And he's checking everything out, and it's a beautiful spring day, and it's a morning, and he just got out there, and the dew had just transferred from being like a frost to a nice dew. You know how it is, man. I mean, you're from wherever you're from, and I'm from where I'm from, and we have similar weather. So you know when the frost becomes dew on the ground, how cool it is. And he said it's beautiful, warm, but he just wanted to feel the moisture between his toes. And anyway, so he took his feet off, or his shoes off his feet, and he said he stood on a stump to take some pictures. I don't know why he did it, but he did. And all of a sudden, by the time they went back that evening, his feet started getting these massive blisters. And he's like, I was barefooted all day. This is no bullshit. So I know him. He's not going to bullshit me on this. Somehow the dew on that stump, they figured pulled old blister agent out of the ground or the roots or something, and his feet compressing on that old stump somehow got some of that blister agent on his feet. And he had pictures of his feet with these blisters on it. I mean, there's his face, there's his feet. And I was like, Jesus Christ. We called him Uncle Bob because he was an older cat. And I think he was in like Germany in, I want to say 79, 80, 81, 82, somewhere around there. If I'm not mistaken, he was like 6 years older, 7 years older than me. I don't know. And I totally believe him because, I saw the picture of that. And nothing else would explain blisters like that. He's in civilian clothes. He's in the hospital, and his buddy took a picture of it, and he had pictures of the Somme. So, he's telling me this is where I got, and it's one of them things. And then that's another thing as a veteran, man. I went to Munich to check stuff out, and the night before, when we got there, we took a night tour of Munich, me and my wife. This would have been it wouldn't have been October. It was September. When we first started was September. The Oktoberfest was still going on. And 2005. And I wanted to see, there's a plaque on the ground in Munich. First off, I couldn't remember where it was, but they have plaques right outside their residence. And a lot of people don't know that when they called the beer hall Poosh, what the beer hall Poosh was, what beer hall they were coming out of. Well, it was the Hofbrauhaus, the Hofbrauhaus München. And so those boys came out, and that night the woman goes, oh, there's no plaque like that. No. And I'm like, yeah, I was drunk, but I remember seeing it. So next day, me and my wife go out there again. And I'm like looking at all these plaques everywhere, and I'm like, I can't understand where the hell this place is. This plaque, I know I seen it. And all of a sudden, the ground felt funky under my feet. And I looked down. I'm standing on the plaque. It was to the policemen that were killed on the beer hall pooch day. And I was like, that lying bitch. I knew there was a plaque. And a lot of the history, that's another thing. The West, good or bad, history has to be remembered. This tearing down of statues, tearing down of history, that's communist shit. And of course, when I came in, it was STRAC, Stand Ready Against Communist. And all we did was shift focus from communism, which is how I cut my teeth, to Islam. And we're talking militant Islam. You know what I'm talking about. So it's an interesting perspective to see how the nation state, capital S, has diverged in the entire West. It's not just the U.S. And your thoughts on that?
I don't have too many thoughts on that. I don't want to delve into that. But I do want to. I want to tell everybody that OP Tennessee. I said Czechoslovakia. I didn't mean to say Czechoslovakia. I don't know why I said that. I meant to say West German. On the West German border. I thought about it afterwards. The one on Czechoslovakian border was, I think it was Waltersdorf or Chasa. If I'm mistaken correctly, we went to that one too, which was kind of cool.
Okay.
But the OP Tennessee, I made a mistake. OP Tennessee is on the west. I believe it was Meiningen. But however, there was a lot of Soviet Eastern Bloc people that were in East Germany as well. So
right,
we got to meet a lot of them. Yeah,
right. You had the Hungarians. You had everybody. Remember the Warsaw Pact? That was against NATO. Right. And when I say the West,
yeah, that was considered the Soviet sector anyhow. I mean, remember we had the French sector, we had the British sector, we had the American sector, and then and then the Soviet sector was the east side. Yeah.
Yep. And Berlin was surrounded by the east. A lot of people forget that.
Yeah.
Berlin was right in the middle of the east. The sectors in Berlin were divided out that way, but the border contiguously, as you went down it, you had the British in the north. That was North Hag, Northern Army Group. You had South Tag, which was the Americans. And then the center was the Germans, the Bundeswehr, and everybody else. So,
yeah.
But we would do.
Now, a lot of people think Berlin's all the way north too, and when I had a conversation about this the other day with somebody, going to know, Berlin's not all the way north. Berlin's like almost central, directly in the center of the country.
Right, and well, the interesting part is when we would do a reforger, return of forces to Germany, they would do.
Oh yeah, I did a reforger. I did a couple of reforgers.
They would do a Red Star, which was their equivalent, where they would bring Czechs to the border. I do not doubt where you were at, there were probably Czech people. You got to remember the one thing I do remember is that you had people, and I'm sure it didn't change, that were homesteaded by the Soviets. Remember the Soviets, we even had legalized spying. A lot of people forget this. The SMELM, Soviet Military Assistance Liaison Mission.
Yeah.
And we had,
that's true.
Yeah. And we had our spies that went over there too. You know, a lot of them DIA, U.S. Army, Marine. Just depended on specialty and what was going on. But and they could be from a lot of different MOSs. People also forget that Operation Group ODA, Operation Detachment Delta, that's made up of all MOSs, and people forget that. In the U.S. Army, they're not all Ranger up grunts, you know, and it's been that way forever. And all the other ODAs, they're pretty much, I mean, look, if you're in ODA, if you're in Force Reconnaissance, if you're a Navy SEAL, you know, just like, well, anyways, I don't want to get into all that. There's always the delineation. But the one
yeah, because you only got me for about 10 more minutes, and then I got to bust a move.
Cool. But the one constant is that's straight up killer. You know, that's the game, and it's always purpose built and driven. But yeah, definitely, man. 10 minutes. I've got the link in the description to your channels, and so I want to put them out there before you leave. He's on Redcon One Media. There's a Facebook, www.facebook.com//Redcon1Media, spelled out. Then on YouTube, www.youtube.com/Redcon1Media, Redcon1 and Media. The first letters are all capitalized. And on www.spreaker.com/SARGESAYS101. That's www.spreaker.com/ www.spreaker.com. Sarge Says 101. And that's a popular podcast on there. And hold up, I just gave you the wrong one. Let me rephrase this one now. I got it right in the link. Sorry about that there, Big Sarge. www.spreaker.com/USER/Sarge Says 101. So it's user
there you go.
/Sarge Says 101. Yeah, so like I said, it's been a pleasure having you on. I hopefully will be having you on again because I really enjoyed this chat, and I think a lot of the other people have too. We can agree on a lot of things, and this is the thing. And if we do disagree, you notice we're not arguing. That's something more speech,
sure.
not less, huh?
I said for sure.
Yeah. And that's another thing veterans have, I think. There's a veteran I talked to. He's a tanker. I'd love to introduce you. If you're ever in London,
that'd be awesome.
If you're ever in London, Ohio, you feel free to reach out, and I'll take you to the coffee shop. This guy's retired. Awesome feller. Straight up liberal. And when Trump got elected, it was hilarious. He you know how people use the words fascist, Nazi, and all this stuff. And at first, he's going through the delusion. And he said, well, that's fascist. I said, well, then I guess I'm a fascist. And he goes, da-da-da. And I'd known this guy a couple years, 3, 4 years, 5 years, whatever it was. And I said, well, I'm a fascist. Okay, you're a screaming liberal. So we've known each other this long. The bicycle shop is the coffee shop. And I said, we've always had good talk, so why don't we just talk about bicycles? And since then, guess what? We've had political talk. And neither one of us get ass hurt, and there's never been an outburst by him like that again. He's a very good guy. He's a hell fellow well met. If you come down, you'll meet him. His name's Harry. So, like I said, this is the kind of thing I enjoy. I've had Adam Kokesh on my show. Former Marine. I may disagree with him a lot politically, but I think that was a good chat, that me and him had. I'm not averse to having people who disagree as long as they're not disagreeable.
You don't want to have to limit yourself to the groupthink process, of course.
Yeah, I tell everybody, look to everything to the extreme right. We're talking, if you want to be honest with your knowledge, you have to go all the way to the Daily Stormer, and you have to go to the complete left, everything Antifa publishes. And the truth always is in the middle. It's been my experience, and that's what I've found. There's a grain of truth to every conspiracy, but the key is to find that grain. And that's why these kind of chats help open other people's eyes. That yes, there is some truth to things, but it's not up to me to lead you to it. It's not up to Big Sarge to. We're just having a good old time. Neither him or I make a red cent. Well, I don't know about you, but I know I don't make a red cent on my channel. I will never monetize it. I like to have my small little family, and that's what I call everybody.
I'm trying to, I'm trying to build a platform, and the ultimate goal is to make enough money on it where, eventually maybe I can start doing it full time.
Oh, that'd be cool. I would support it. If I ever decide I want to get affiliate, well, I've worked with other places and I enjoy them and I pimp them on my channel. I won't do that today because I'm only pimping you. But the thing is, yeah, it's just the truth. I'm not going to do that. That would be wrong. But they know who they are. And, just because I'm not doing that now, I'm trying to bring my channel back to where I want it. I want it with just veterans, one-on-one talking. And that was the purpose of this, to have honest flow back and forth of conversation. So there you go.
Well, I had fun, man, for sure.
Awesome, brother. So hopefully I'll do my outro, and I will tell everybody, as I do all the time on my channel, if you're here because of Big Sarge, it'll be your first time being here. I thank you all for stopping by, taking a seat on my big orange couch. Pour yourself your favorite libation, your coffee, tea, adult libation, matters not. and enjoy, because there's plenty of room on my small channel in Kaisers Kastle to enjoy a conversation. With that being said, shuff out as soon as this loads. I love how the last song always does this, man. It's craziness. But anyways, as soon as it loads, and it's not going to load for a while. So I will just keep going until it loads. And also, thank you guys for stopping by, enjoying Redcon 1 Media and Big Sarge. Hi, Ivy. Sorry you came in towards the end. Thank you, Nethead, Leslie. Going through. Rob Thiemann, Rob the Man. N7 Smoke 27. Thank you. All you people that stopped by and made a comment. Remember, like, comment, and share. Always a good time. You guys are always welcome to stop by my channel. And as always, my intros always, it's game time. My outro is always Inside Enemy Headquarters by Axion Ghost. Look him up on YouTube. Probably one of my favorite musicians that nobody knows about, and I know him, so I am biased. God bless, be well, be safe. Shuff out.